Hey fellow boomer, Tim here. Let's talk about grief today. There's a kind of grief no one really talks about after 60. It isn't tied to a death either. There's no funeral, no sympathy cards, and no moment when people gather around you and say, I'm so sorry for your loss. And yet something feels missing, right? Something important. Many people reach this stage of life and they feel unsettled, maybe a little sad, even quietly disconnected. And they don't really know why. If that's ever been you, I want you to know right away, right off the bat, that you're not broken and you're not ungrateful. What you're experiencing is a very real, very human form of grief. This silent grief often comes from the loss of things that once gave your life structure and meaning. Identity changes, careers end or fade into the background. Titles that once defined you no longer apply. Routines that anchored your days disappear. And along with that comes another quiet loss. Being needed, being asked, being sought out. The phone doesn't ring as often for advice. Your experience, which took decades to earn, feels less visible. It's not that you lost your value, it's that the world no longer signals it in the same way. There's also the loss of predictability. That's a big one. Your health feels less certain. I know mine does. The future feels less clearly mapped. Change comes faster than it used to and often without explanation or permission. Add to that the feeling of cultural displacement, music, language, humor, even values shifting. And it can feel like you're living in a world that no longer speaks your language. You haven't disappeared, but sometimes it feels like the spotlight has moved on without you, right? And what makes this grief so confusing is how it shows up. It doesn't always look or feel like sadness. Sometimes it feels like, irritability, maybe fatigue, emotional numbness, even a low-grade sense of restlessness. I've had that. You might find yourself thinking, I should be grateful. My life is fine. Why do I feel this way? The truth is, you're not missing one specific thing. You're missing the version of life where you felt anchored, relevant, and certain of your place in the world. And that's all changed now. For many in our generation, there was never a roadmap for dealing with this. We boomers were taught to push through, right? Stay strong. Keep moving forward. Don't dwell too much on our feelings, right? Stuff down those emotions, right? Especially if you're a guy. Grief was reserved for clear, visible losses, not for the quiet ending of a life chapter. So when this kind of grief shows up, it often brings shame with it. A sense that you shouldn't feel this way. But here's the thing, strength isn't pretending nothing changed. Strength is having the courage to acknowledge that something did. What actually helps isn't staying busy or telling yourself to be just great, just to stay grateful. What helps is acknowledging the grief. When you acknowledge it, it loses some of its power. It also helps to recognize that you're not grieving your life, just grieving a phase of your life. That chapter mattered. It shaped you. And it's okay to mourn it, even as you move forward. It's not about proving yourself anymore. It's about reclaiming relevance on your terms. Through mentorship, creativity, contribution, or simply sharing the wisdom that you've earned and learned throughout a lifetime of living. Right? This isn't the end of your story. It's a threshold, a transition from accumulation to integration, from striving to meaning, from doing more to understanding more. And while the grief you feel is real, so's the opportunity on the other side of it. The chance to live with intention, depth, and purpose that isn't measured by titles, productivity, or how much money you make. So if any of this stuff resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop some comments below. Share your thoughts with me. I'm very interested to hear your take of being a boomer and what you go through. What do you think you've been quietly grieving that you really haven't fully acknowledged yet? Is there anything in your life? This is what the Resilient Boomer is all about. Bringing these invisible experiences into the open so none of us have to carry them alone. right? That's why we do this together. And so do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And always remember, resilience has nothing to do with age. It's all about attitude. I'll see you in the next one.